My name is Brady Rogers. I'm from Belleville, Ontario in Canada, and I'm a photo and video producer, and we do a lot of hunting and fishing outdoor content. I've never been on a goat hunt before. I've really only hunted the same little chunk of public land in Ontario for basically since I could hunt. So I'm pretty out of my element. The territory I'm used to is like big brush country, not being able to see basically 20 yards around you. If you can see 20 yards, it's pretty open. So to be here in Wyoming, it's like totally wide open country. It's a lot different than what I'm used to. When we got into camp, we started shooting the bows. I've only started to bow hunt in the last 2 years, so I've only shot one other animal with a compound. I'm pretty new to archery, so where I'm from and where I've hunted most of my life, a 20-yard shot's pretty normal. Here, it's wide open, and like a 50-yard shot is not uncommon. So morning one, TJ took us out. We went to what he called the Red Windmill, and it's a little watering hole. We sat in a blind. So we get set up in the blind. I'm with my buddy Yosh from work, and he's filming. Right away we see this lone buck off in the distance, way off, like on the horizon almost. And he's just slowly working his way towards us, but we figure we got lots of time. First couple hours, I'd say we're pretty quiet. So a couple hours pass, and Yoshi and I are starting to kind of be a little less subtle in the blind, moving and making a bit of noise. And right away off to our right, we see that buck that we were watching in the distance, almost right on top of us, about 60 yards away. So we watched him for a little bit, but he was nervous coming in. He knew something was up, and he just wouldn't commit. He wouldn't come into the watering hole. So we got to watch him come close, feel like it was going to happen. I was starting to get the shakes, and he just wouldn't commit, and he left. After that buck left, it wasn't that long after when about 200 sheep show up on the watering hole. It honestly started to get a little frustrating because there were sheep everywhere, like totally surrounding our blind. In front of us, behind us, off to the left, off to the right. There were sheep just about everywhere. As we're surrounded by sheep, we see this buck leading a group of does, followed by another buck, both really nice bucks, cresting this hill, full trot, right into our watering hole. And it feels like forever that we're watching him, surrounded by does. He starts to walk off to the right, and we just kind of watch him circle around behind us, and at one point, I hear Yoshi say he's right next to us and he could hear the footsteps. So he comes back into the pond again, starts drinking, and never gave me a shot. Surrounded by does again, broadside, but just no shot opportunity. We see off to the left, there's this lone buck starting to come in, and he really grabs the attention of all the antelope around the pond. So this lone buck coming in pulls all of the antelope off the watering hole. And I remember vividly several opportunities where he was perfectly broadside or I had a shot, but Yoshi, who was behind the camera, was staring right into the blind with the lens. So I had to hold a couple opportunities because we had no camera shot. And then finally, Yoshi very carefully pulls down the blind. He's almost perfectly quartering away from me, and I hear Yoshi say, "I'm good." My heart was racing at this point. It was a crazy rush to have them that close for so long. You kind of get in your own head about your shot placement, and you kind of play it out in your head, and then it doesn't play out exactly how you expect, but it was awesome. So I get out of the blind and knock another arrow as I'm walking up on him, and the whole time I'm hoping, like, I'm questioning, did I make a good shot? Because I didn't really remember where I had hit. It happened so quickly. So I'm walking up hoping that he's down. I was pretty in awe when I walked up on them. They're a lot smaller than I anticipated, but the mass this goat had was pretty incredible. They're just a very cool animal. They're not like anything we have back home. They're very much their own beast. This whole experience at Table Mountain Outfitters has been pretty incredible. I felt very out of my element and in a good way. Scott and Angie are great. TJ's the man. Like, he put us on the spot and told us exactly where the goats were gonna come from, and sure enough, pretty much to a T, they came from that direction. So these guys got this place figured out. It's unlike anywhere I've ever been before.
Closed captioning presented by huntingwyoming.com.